And hello, everyone. This is Elliot and Jose coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you for joining us here yet again on CCW TV, the video podcast where a comic book writer and comic book vendor talk about comics. Jumping into the indies, our friends at Boom Studios have released Dingo number 1 by, and I read the credits before we started this, and already leaves my brain box. Michael Allen Nelson and artwork by Francesco Biagini. You could have read a preview of this on the CCW blog. The good folks at Boom Studios send us previews that you guys can check out. And I think in the first 6 pages, five pages came out. So you already read the clever little twist that was in the beginning of the book. So Dingo takes place in sort of kind of a meta fictional world, like our world, but has to do with the lead character Dingo being kind of the caretaker for his family, and namely his brother, who's a rock star. And the story starts off with Dingo getting a call from his brother that his brother's kind of misplaced something that's really, really important. Mm-hmm. Something they just call cryptically the box. Now, this book is written in a style that would fit very nicely within DC's Vertigo universe. Mm-hmm. When I was reading this, it felt very much like a Vertigo book.
And I noticed that. Did you notice the paper stock?
Yes, the paper stock too.
It's like Vertigo paper stock, yes, which Boom Studios doesn't normally do comics on this type of newsprint.
That was kind of. I won't say it was off-putting, but it was kind of interesting. Because the paper stock doesn't hurt in any way.
No, it doesn't.
Just the problem was that, but you still have that $3.99 cover price. Mm-hmm. I know DC,
but that's the normal cover price for Boom Studios books, except their kids' books, their kid lines are all $2.99.
$2.99. And the thing with the Vertigo books are $2.99 too, right? I know they use that paper stock to try to keep costs down. Mm-hmm. So again, but this book would fit very nicely in the Vertigo verse, and Dingo has to cross country from California. Not really cross country.
Cross country, like cross state.
The state line from California into Las Vegas, and it's kind of like.
So what happened was that his brother misplaced this box, and he sold this car to somebody, and the box was in the trunk.
Trunk of the car.
And this guy is in Vegas, so Dingo has to go to Vegas to pick up the box from the guy.
And along the way, he gets lost. Which was pretty funny.
No, the dialogue in here was actually pretty clever. I kind of like this character already after only reading 5 or 6 pages of it. It's just really well done.
Because you read the first page. I'm not giving anything away if you read the preview, but you read the first page and the guy's all tied up, and you think he's like in some sort of. You think he's like he's like in the Middle East, being tortured, or in the Serb, in some sort of Ukrainian gulag, and being tortured by somebody. Nah, it's just he's got a thing for.
S&M.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Which is kind of funny. And so he gets a phone call. He's got to cross to, by the way, if you've ever driven from California to Vegas, which I have, it's a son of a bitch. I'm telling you that right now. The mountains are a bitch to drive through, and you're crossing all this desert. I can relate to what this guy was talking about, although I did not get a flat tire like he did. This is the part where I went from, kind of saying, okay, this Dingo character's okay, to really liking the dude. To really, really liking the dude.
Because of the dog.
Because of the dog, of course. Right. Because of the dog. And everyone knows I have a soft spot for dogs. So when he encounters this really big, effing scary dog that is tied to a gas station pump in the middle of the desert, and what's the first thing he says? He goes, "You're telling me this dog has been tied out in the sun for 3 days and you haven't done anything?" Mm-hmm. So he takes it upon himself to approach the dog, and he has some water, and he wants to give the dog some water, and he's saying, "Here, boy." But then he looks at it, and as the closer he gets to the dog, he realizes this isn't some just some dog.
Yeah.
There's something very different about the dog. And when he gets close enough to it, he looks at the collar on the dog, and of course the dog is named Cerberus. And if you know your mythology, it's very significant. And then, of course, Dingo makes himself a new friend in Cerberus, which proves to be a very important thing. This book has got a lot of mythology. Is it me? Okay, so if you haven't read this book, you know, it's not spoiler laden, but do you think this is Pandora's box?
I think so.
I think it's Pandora's box.
Thinking,
that's what I was thinking. I mean, if you know your mythology, and Dingo's ex-wife is a Gorgon. But, you know, she seems like, you know, but the way they portray it, it's sort of subtle and intimated, and in the artwork,
because they really don't get into what's in the box, because the guy who he's picking up the box from actually opened it up.
Yeah.
But they don't really say, and because of that leads his ex-wife, Dingo's ex-wife, who's been looking for the box, knows where it is. But and I think that's exactly what it is.
And when the guy opens the box, I mean, the guy had a very good reason to do it, too.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, hey, man, you know.
He thought it was drugs.
Yeah, I don't want to do anything illegal. So, the characters here really, here's a difference between, let's say, a book like this, and I hate to bring it up again, but Kill Audio. Where Kill Audio tried very hard to be clever and get into this whole, you know, I guess the book was trying really hard to be clever. But there was nothing about the characters in Kill Audio that you could really relate to or find empathetic or sympathetic or whatever. As opposed to here, where, you know, the writer keeps the characters pretty simple. Their motivations are simple enough that you can follow them. They're given just enough humor to keep you from getting bogged down in the story and thinking, oh my God, these people are decadent and depraved, and oh, I can't stand, you know, this, you know. No, there are some somewhat redeeming qualities about them. And of course, the lead character of Dingo is full of self-loathing and stuff, but he's trying to do the right thing.
Right.
He's trying to do the right thing. So at the very least, you have a hero that you can root for and say, I really want to see him get through this. As opposed to Kill Audio, who I can really care less about.
The character kind of reminds me of kind of an Ash character, where he's a good-natured guy at heart, but he kind of comes off as a prick.
Yeah, well, but Ash is also an idiot, whereas this guy's
not. Yeah, that's true.
He's not so much an idiot.
Yes, but that's just to give you a corollary of what we're coming from. That he's actually like a good guy, but just does some bad things.
He's almost like Constantine light.
I can see that.
Almost Constantine light, like really light. You know, not as tortured as Constantine was. But you know, I'm reading this. It was a fun read. In the end, it was just a fun read.
No, it was. It was really good. And I do have to say that, personally, I think this is probably the best art that I've ever seen in a Boom Studios book.
Oh, really?
Just from personally, from my taste.
Oh, outside
this guy kind of has, in like an Eduardo Riso kind of.
Yeah.
And I really like it. This book, everything works in this book.
It did. It worked really, really well. Because, here's the other thing. This type of artwork, some artists try to get, again, too clever with their layouts and the shadings and, you know, doing the whole thing. Like this scene right here with the ex-wife. I mean, come on, Medusa. I mean, you know, it's pretty obvious.
Right.
But it's not too obvious.
But it's not too obvious.
And the story is easy to follow for someone who, you know, if you don't have the most trained eye when it comes to reading a comic book, the layouts are simple enough to go through, and it makes sense to you.
Right.
And you know, again, the artist is not trying to be too issue with his layouts and his panel juxtapositions and storytelling. Right.
It's just a good book.
Man. It is a good book.
Really good.
It is a really good book.
And if you're looking for something different next week and you have some extra money, you know, pick it up. I think you guys would like it for the most part.
See, this is and again, if you're someone who really enjoys the Vertigo books too, this is right up your alley
That's
too.
True.
This is right up your alley because it's fun. It's a fun book. you know, it's not too graphic.
It's a fun book with a mature spin on it, and that's what Vertigo is pretty much about most of the time. So,
but you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, was there any swearing in there? I don't think there was any really.
I don't think so.
I mean, I think teenagers could read this.
Yeah.
You know, the little S&M bit in the beginning wasn't really graphic
played for yucks,
or anything.
though.
Yeah, played for yucks, exactly. And he again, Cerebus the dog, cool, cool little bit.
Yes, I'll be buying this book myself. I mean, even though I can read it for free, since we get previews and stuff from Boom, I'm actually going to support this book and buy it because
it's a good book.
I think it's really good.
It's a good book, and like most of the Boom Studio books are. And then the kids line also. I mean, the Disney stuff has been top notch. I like how they kept the original numbering of the books instead of starting over again. Incredibles, fun stuff.
Incredibles has an ongoing series. Muppets this week. Muppets #0 and Toy Story #0 come out, and those are going to be ongoing too.
Right.
So.
Yeah, well, the Muppets, the artwork in the Muppets books is just, and the Muppets have been getting some big time revival lately, especially with that Muppets video of them doing the Bohemian Rhapsody. It's pretty cool. So anyway, not to get off topic, Boom Studios, Dingo #1, great book, thumbs up from us. We need a quote for Chip to put on their site for our review. I want me a dog like Dingo's dog.
Yeah, it doesn't really say how awesome this comic is, though.
Awesome book. As awesome as Cerebus, the dog. How's that?
That's kind of plain.
That's kind of plain?
And you're a fucking writer. You should
be
able to do this stuff in your sleep.
Sorry, Chip. Tried to come up with something for you. But we'll try to do something for the next issue so you can get us on the trade. You know, get us on the trade collection. When we come back, we will have Last Rants, what it's about. I don't think we even know what it is yet. So we hope you join us.